Good. Sorry. Good morning. It's November the 13th, I guess. Yes, 13th. And I'm just going to clean those lenses a little bit because it looks kind of smeared there. That confused the thing too much a little bit, but yeah, that looks a little better. Anyway, as I started to say, it's November the 13th. I'm walking downtown for the first time since I broke my ankle. So there you go. We'll see how it goes. Yesterday I did about 40 minutes between the 20 minutes that I live streamed and the 20 minutes back from where I walked to. And at about the 30-minute mark, I was thinking, that's enough. And then I had 2 more minutes to go. But this should only be 20 minutes, so it will be about the same as yesterday's walk. And then there's a much longer gap in between because I'm meeting somebody for lunch and a business meeting at the Hotel Saskatchewan. So that's where I'm headed. It's 3 degrees, going to 10 today, so a very nice day again. Gets colder next week, but we're having a nice little warm spell here at the moment. Leaves are gone, as you can see. As usually happens, I had my yard cleaned up, and then we got snow and a frost, and the last few leaves that hadn't fallen yet dumped. But still, it's a lot better than it was. With these elm trees along here, you get a lot of leaves. And they're very slow to drop them, elm trees, for some reason. Okay, foot and ankle feels pretty good. It doesn't like uneven ground very much still, so that's when I notice it a bit. Anyway, and I didn't bring any Tylenol. I haven't taken Tylenol now for a couple of days, so I guess that's a good sign. I think about it, and then I forget, and then generally it doesn't seem that bad, although maybe I'd be a little bit more comfortable if I brought it with me. Well, I've gotten it from the hotel before if I needed it, so if I ask. Last year when I fell and banged up my ribs and thought I'd broken them, or at least cracked them, I was headed to the hotel and I went in and cleaned up my bloody nose and had lunch. But I did ask for some Tylenol and they were able to give it to me. Anyway, I don't really think I'm going to need it. It's just an ache. Nothing too serious. This house has people living in it finally. I've been walking by it for a long time, and sometime I think since I last came this way, it got finished to the point where I believe there are people in it. Well, the windows don't seem to have any blinds, so maybe there were people working in it, but they're not living there yet. I don't know. What have I been working on? Well, I got a new book published. Not a new book, it's a new edition of an old book of mine. It's out now. Lost in Translation was my first published adult science fiction novel. It was published by a company called 5 Star, which had a unique model in that it was hardcovers that only went to libraries. So libraries would subscribe and get, a science fiction novel or a Western. I don't remember how many categories they had. So it was picked up by 5 Star. And then not too long after that, I got a phone call from John Helfers, who is my editor at 5 Star. And he said that just saw there's a crack on the glass that covers the protective glass that covers my phone screen. Looks like a crack. This is just, it looks like a crack. Oh well, I'm going to be upgrading soon. Anyway, got a call from John Helfers, and he said Martin Greenberg wanted to talk to me. Well, he was the publisher. I'd never talked to him before, but he wanted to give me the good news that Daw Books, major New York science fiction publisher, had a hole in their publishing schedule and had asked if 5 Star, if Martin Greenberg, who they knew, he'd edited anthologies for them and stuff like that, if he had any books that might be of interest, and he sent some over. and they picked mine. Lost in Translation, the book that's now out in a new edition. So they brought it out. The original hardcover came out in 2005. They brought out mass market paperback in 2006. There must have been an ebook in there at some point. I got the rights back a couple of years ago now. Maybe it was just last year. And I finally brought out this new edition, new cover. First time it's been in trade paperback. And it's also an ebook, of course. So if you'd like to read Lost in Translation, it has some very good reviews. You can find it everywhere. Lost in Translation by Efward Willett. Not to be confused with the movie with Bill Murray. Nothing to do with that. And in fact, unfortunately, it's kind of the kind of title that a lot of people have used. So there's a lot of Lost in Translations. You can't copyright a title. But mine is, as far as I know, the only science fiction one. And of course, I would like to think the best. I guess I could have gone up this way, but I thought this light was going to change pretty quick. 16 seconds. I guess I can wait. So going this way, I can take a slightly different side, which side of the street I want to go up. Royal Saskatchewan Museum over there. There we go. So I'll go one block this way and then start up, just to be a little different. Still green grass, which is interesting. Something in my mouth. Hope it wasn't a bug. Not really the season for bugs, except for the little maple bugs that show up this time of year. Little flat red and black bugs. They always find their way into just about everywhere this time of year. So this is College Avenue. Going by a house I know well. I don't know what's going into it now. Who bought it? I think it's been bought. Used to belong to the Shumiachers, very noted local couple. Royalty has stayed in that house over the years on visits. Unfortunately, it was Prince Andrew, I believe, but still. Morris Shumiacher was a well-known Canadian lawyer, human rights lawyer. His wife Jackie was good friends. Well, both of them are good friends of my wife's family. I knew Jackie better because she outlived her husband by quite a bit. And they were both patrons of the arts. So, been to dinner in that house, and we had Jackie over quite often for special occasions of our own. But alas, she's gone now, and the house was put up for sale. And I don't know. I don't see a for sale sign on it, and it looks like it's being taken care of, so I hope somebody has bought it and is taking care of it. It's actually two houses put together. I hear voices, but I don't know where they're coming from. Behind me? Maybe I'm hearing echoes and they're behind me. I don't see anybody in front of me. Perry's. I don't know what Perry's is, but berries. There it is. So a lot of these are houses, but they're now businesses. That's why this area is sometimes called the transition area. Transitioning from residential to business, but it's been transitioning for the entire, coming on 30 years I've lived in, no, coming on 40 years I've lived in Regina. So, not transitioning very fast. That's right. Only 3 years from having lived in Regina for 40 years, but I still think of myself as a guy from Weyburn. I've lived here longer than anywhere else, by far. But, you know, I grew up mostly in Weyburn, so it's where you grow up that you think of as where you're from. And before that, I was in Texas till I was 8. We really only lived there for 6 years. Before that, it was New Mexico, which is where I was born. Silver City, New Mexico. Not too far from the border, not a border town, but down that way. Mining town, as you can tell by the name, originally. My parents were living in a little town called Baird, right at the foothills of the mountains. They always said, I don't remember it because I was only 2, they always said you could go half an hour in one direction, you'd be in the desert, half an hour the other direction, you'd be up in the mountains. Apparently, well, I even remember it. I used to call them my mountains when we would visit New Mexico from Texas. But I'm surprised I had that much memory of it. I don't really have any memory of it, but maybe when I was 4, I still had a memory of it. We've got a stop sign here, so I'll cross the road here. My ankle, or my foot really, is complaining a bit, but I'm going to make it. There's the Pig Snout building, as I always think of it. This condo building here was the first one of this kind built. There's several in this neighborhood, including the one that we bought a condo in when we were married, which I've sometimes walked to or mentioned as I go by it. I always see that as Tuna Lodge until I look closer. Tuma, not tuna. But I've been telling people I'm about 90% normal. I'm thinking more like 85 right now. It's actually bothering me a bit more today than it did yesterday. Maybe because I did do a long walk yesterday. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, sort of thing. It'll be swollen for a while yet. Your mileage may vary. They usually say 3 months, but it could be more. I was somebody who didn't even have the surgery. I had the surgery, so I don't know if that means it's likely to stay swollen even longer. In March, I go back for a follow-up with the surgeon, and we'll see what's what. Could take out the screws if he felt there was a need. That would be done under a local, just a small incision. But I hope we don't do it because I'm not a fan of any sort of incision, small or large, in my precious skin. I'm very fond of my skin and much prefer to keep it in one piece. Fond of my bones too. Would have liked to keep, I wanted my ankle in one piece too, but gravity had a different idea. Gravity is not your friend. Gravity is the enemy. All right, we'll go past Ripplinger here, which is for sale. Did Ripplinger finally close completely? Like it did. Surprised I didn't hear about that. Well, there's still stuff in there. So maybe they're not closed, but they're for sale. They've been an institution for a long time. Art gallery, gift shop, cafe. Used to eat out on the deck here. But the whole thing has a very not active look, that's for sure. I think they may have closed. I think part of the problem with this walk is that there's a lot more driveways, more uneven terrain, and that's what my foot is complaining a bit more about. Still, it wasn't that long ago. I wouldn't even have attempted anything this long. So it is getting better, which I'm sure everyone who knows me will be relieved when I quit talking about it. But one does tend to talk about the things that particularly grab your attention, and broken bones do tend to seize your attention. It's kind of a big step off of the curb back there, but I went down on my good foot just to be safe. I'll be coming this way again tonight because I'm starting rehearsal with the First Baptist Choir for their Christmas concert. They bring me in every year. I have for the last 3, I guess. This is the 4th. I really don't remember. I'm a ringer. Help out the men in the choir and sing. And this year I think I'm doing a duet with somebody, not a solo. So that first rehearsal is tonight. So I'll probably walk, but I won't. We'll see how my foot feels after this. I'll probably walk, but I won't live stream it. Not this time. I have in the past and probably will again. Always kind of fun to live stream at night, just a different look on things. But I'm probably only going to walk halfway there and stop somewhere to have supper because my wife is out, so we can't really join up for supper, I don't think. And I'll walk on to the church for the rehearsal and then walk home if I feel I'm up to it. This building used to have APEGs in it, the Association of Professional Engineers and Geoscientists of Saskatchewan. Back when I wrote their centennial book, it was in there. Absolutely nobody is watching me live, as far as I can tell, so you're probably watching a recording if you're hearing me say any of this stuff. But that's okay. I guess it's the time of year that it is. I don't know what's in there now. Probably still that accountant's office that was in there. Probably still there. Salvation Army here. I'm going to go down this way now for a block. Really just a block and a half away now. I thought I'd make it by 1:45, but maybe I'm a little slower than pre-broken ankle days. Trying to get back though, bit by bit by bit. Bring it together. Hard isn't easy. Healing isn't easy. Always nice to have these not very high traffic streets you can sort of usually mosey across without having to go to the corner. Used to go in this building quite a bit. We used to have board meetings for Golden Apple Theater, professional theater company I was on the board of, because one of our members had access to the boardroom up here. But that's been several years now. Seems like all these things that I remember like they were yesterday are now several years ago. It's one of the frightening things about getting old is how quick it seems time has passed, even though you know intellectually it's passing at exactly the same rate it did when you were, say, 12. It doesn't feel like that. This is not a brilliant or original observation. Nevertheless, it is an accurate one. Everybody experiences it as they get older. I'm not old. 66 is not old. But I am officially a senior citizen, I guess, which I still find weird because I don't think of myself that way. Blood Services or Red Cross? That's actually Red Cross. Blood Services was peeled off from them in the wake of the tainted blood scandal years ago. Red Cross is now more focused on disaster relief and things like that. And Blood Services, where they actually collect blood, is in a building over on Broad Street. Used to be like a sports lawyer office in here. Is it gone? I guess so. I don't know what comfort keepers are. Oh, hello. Good morning or afternoon. It's still morning, barely. I'm you. I'm eat. Almost done this walk though, because I am going for lunch. So it's almost lunchtime, but it's still 12 minutes to 12. And this one, I think this is the funniest name for any organization. The Saskatchewan Seniors Mechanism. And I guess they push for accessibility and stuff like that. And then I was just in here last week picking up posters for the Wascana Voices concert that comes up on December 7th. I designed the posters and looked after getting them printed. As I have done now since I joined the group. Is this my 4th year? Again, it seems like I just joined, but it's at least the 3rd, maybe it's the 4th. Hard to know. And there's where I'm headed. Not up those stairs, but into that building. Victoria Park across the way. Of course, they just had there would have been a ceremony here at the Cenotaph on Remembrance Day 2 days ago. There's downtown, such as it is, the mighty towers of downtown Regina. It's about the sum of them. There's one you can't see. And here's the Hotel Saskatchewan. I actually stayed here on Friday night. Because of my status with Marriott, I had a free night that was going to expire. So we decided to use it here, which was kind of nice. We got a really nice room. That way it didn't go to waste. It's a little weird staying in a hotel in your own city. It feels a little weird. It's like, why am I not just at home? There's a nice view. That'll probably be my thumbnail. Here we are, the Hotel Saskatchewan. So I'll stop here, and thanks for walking with me. Made it all right. My first walk downtown since breaking my ankle.